Okay, so we're gonna talk about my favorite fucking topic, which is SJWs. The thing that has become glaringly apparent to me is that the social justice movement, as it were, or at least the ones that are like extremely radical and entirely oversensitive, is that they don't necessarily care about having a conversation at all. In fact, I'm pretty sure they don't. They care about the way in which the conversation is held. Because I guess according to these people, there is a correct way to address or not address a given issue. Like one incident that sticks out in my mind, just because it happened to have happened to me, is I go into a chat room with the name Schizophrenic Queen, because that is a name that I use in many places on the internet. And someone instantly comes out and says, "That's offensive." And I say, "Well, I have schizophrenia." And they're like, "It doesn't matter. That's offensive." And I say, "Why is it offensive?" It's offensive. And the thing, I guess, that we should all remember in these times of correct speech is that being offended is not an argument. I mean, you can be offended all you want. That doesn't change my rights, and it shouldn't change anybody else's. And yet we have this crowd of angry people who want to control the conversation in such a way that the things that are deemed offensive are simply removed from the room. I was, basically kicked out of this chat room because I was on the list of offensive things. Me. Just because I chose to be visible in a given environment with my condition. So it's not even that these people want to have these conversations. They want you to listen to what they say, believe what they say without evidence, based on their feelings, and they want you to act in a particular way that will please them. And I mean, I'm not gonna run down the street screaming derogatory words, but I'm sorry if I can't have whatever title I want in a chat room. It's getting out of hand, especially considering that schizophrenia is a mental condition or a medical condition, and the queen part is just the title I gave myself. Ultimately, it means absolutely nothing. And if you can look at an arrangement of words that ultimately means medical condition, some sort of rulership, and decide that this is far too offensive for you to even possibly consider tolerating, you have to wonder where the fuck you're going. One of the things I've learned as a person with a disability is that it's really not the obligation of the world to simply bend over and give you what you want. If I want similar treatment to other people, I have to step up and say, "Hey, I'm like these other people. Treat me like you treat them." I can't just say, "Oh, you should treat me special because otherwise I'm offended," because that's just childish. You can't control the conversation in this way. It doesn't do anything. Well, I should say that it does do something it makes these issues taboo to talk about. You can tell somebody they're racist and tell them they can't talk about racist issues and all this sort of thing and never explain a fucking thing to them, but ultimately they will be obeying what you say because they don't want the mob mentality to jump on them. They won't be obeying it because they understand what the fuck it is that you're trying to portray. If you want someone to know something, you have to tell them what it is. You can't just say, well, I'm offended, you should never do that again. They're never going to understand why. And if you tell people the core reasons behind the things that you're presenting, it is far more likely that they'll at least study it than if you get up in their face and say, shut up, shitlord, do what I say. Because at the end of the day, yeah, sure, the mob mentality can beat the shit out of any one person, but are we learning anything? Are we having meaningful discussions when you say that we can't talk about this, that, or the other thing? What if I had just decided that, I don't have to explain schizophrenia to people. You should just go look it up, shitlord, and how dare you question me? That is so offensive. Fuck you. It doesn't work that way. If I had come with that approach, nobody would have listened to shit I said. So for people to come on and get angry, and I've done it before myself, which was a very regrettable video, but regardless, that method doesn't work, because even if people shut up about the topic, even if you can suppress the dialogue, nobody really understands. And understanding is the thing that alters people's perspective. That's the important thing. So if you want to have a conversation, have a conversation. But at the very least, if you're having a conversation with me, I'm not going to follow your fucking script. I will have whatever kind of conversation I want. And if you can't deal with it, well, I'm sorry I've offended you, but that's your problem and not mine.